Hi, this is a video for department chairs in ADVETI to know how to create attendance summaries and detailed reports using IBM cognos. This is information we can request from student services, but I like to make my own reports because it just contains the information I want. I can make it look how I want it to look so that my explanations with students are a bit clearer. And I also use it throughout the terms for multiple things like getting SMSs sent to particular students, copying into reports so that I've got the data to hand on how many students are in each class and what their attendance is and things like that. So to access IBM cognos, you go to the link that we have, and this is the report, the Student Services tab. You need to make sure you have this tab open to you. You can ask Student Services to open this for you. And the two reports I tend to use are this one, Attendance Report Summary Report, and Attendance Detail Report. So first, just looking at the summary, and this page is where we select the information. I want to look at last term. I want to look at only Bynuna Institute. I don't want to look at a particular block. I want to look at all blocks, so don't click that. And then I'll just click Finish. And here is what the IBM cognos makes the information look like. And all the information is there. So what I would do is I would put it on an Excel file. You can choose any of the Excel options. And here is the file here. If you can't see it here, then you go to your downloads folder and it will be there. And this is what the Excel file looks like. Just to let you know, at this point I've removed column E and I've removed column Q, because this contains student data that I don't want to share on this video, but you should keep that in for your own purposes. But also, all over this folder, if you ask student services for the file, this information will be shared with you. You don't need all of this. So I personally would remove these columns. You don't need to know term and campus. You don't need original ID. Level, you don't really need because you have the program and the block here. You can get rid of that. Absence and warnings, you can get rid of them. Status, don't need. This one that says program, it's unusual codes, but I like to keep it. Enroll status, delete. Sponsor, I would keep. Telephone of their guardian, you can get rid of, and all these other things you can get rid of. So now we've just reduced it down. You can make the columns a little wider if you keep here. Now this is the information. Again, we would have student name and we would have telephone number, but I want to avoid using them into this thing. Now I need to convert this into a table so I can use it better. So what you do is you highlight all the columns, and then you go to Format as Table. Click on any color you want and make sure you have My Table Has Headers selected, and now you have a table you can do some information with. One thing I like to do is to color code it so that the information is clear to see, because I want to know who has highest absence problems. So I go to the absence column and I just sort as largest to smallest. I now have all the ones with high absence here in order. If I just scroll down and get all the 15%, go to home, go to fill, change to red. Now everyone with high absence who is above 15% is in red. You can also do whatever you want, but I also make the 10%, I flag them so I know who should have the second warning, and then I also flag the people with 5% so that I know who has the first warning. So make this yellow. This is the color I use for that. Now if you then just select one particular class, I'm just going to look at stage 1 students. I can now see that I have some problems in this class with high absence, and if I had the names, which I've hidden, and I have the student phone number, I copy all these information, I put it in an email, and I say to student services, send them an SMS, please you know, you need to attend class, or I send an email to the teacher saying, give me an update on these students, on how they're doing, do I need to remove them, and things like that. So that's the summary report. The other report I use is called detail report. Now this is the page to select the detail report. Again, we have term and we have the campus, and then you also have level. So detail report focuses on diploma compared to certificate, compared to foundation. So you would need to select the level, which means that you might need to do double report, but you tend to be department chair of just one level, so that's fine. You could also just do it for one block if you wanted. I'm just going to look at foundation. And here is the detail report. I've hidden column H, which is the student name, just to keep anonymity in this. I admit that it took a little longer to create this report, just to process it, the system, because there's a lot of information on here, so it takes a minute or two, so you might want to make a cup of tea while that's going on. Again, there's lots of information we don't need, so whatever you prefer to remove, get it removed. I like to keep CRN and course info. This one, column G, is the date, but it gives you the time for some reason, because that's the time it updates the banner. So I like to change this, just take it from general and put long date. So it gives me the day and the date. We don't need to know excused. We don't need to know status. It's good to know the teachers who entered the mark, because that keeps a track of things. And then that's the information we want. Again, we want to format it as a table so we can use the information. My table has headers. Now what I like to see, can you see the date and the time is in, it's a bit of a strange order. So first of all, I would sort A to Z on the times, and then I would sort the date from oldest to newest. So now I will see, you know, the report in the correct order. Now, if I wanted to look at one student, well, I'm going to use all students first of all. One thing I like to see, the colors I like to see, is we have P and A here. If you want to just make it look a bit easier, you can color code it by making all the A's red, all the P's green, and things like this. It just makes it a little nicer to see on the report, especially when you're sharing with students and they can't understand what they're looking at. So if you go to this conditional formatting, because there's so much information here, we've got 56,000 attendance marks. You can't just scroll through and highlight like I did on the last report. So the way to do it is go to conditional formatting, go to new rule. Notice I highlighted the column. Then here I'm going to go to cells that contain specific text, and I want to mark all the A's, all the absence, as red. So when I click OK here, that's going to change to red. So I've checked specific text A, cells that contain, and I've changed the format to red. Click OK. Every absence is now marked red. That's enough, to be honest, but I like to also do the presence as green. I like to do the late as yellow. And I like to do, there's one other attendance mark that not many people know about or even use, and it's called NR, which is Student Services 1 for no record. This is mainly used for students who perhaps go on military service, so they're given a no record for that time, or they were added to the course late but their system shows on here for some reason, so we put that as NR. So now when we have these colors, so if I just wanted to look at one student, let's just choose the top student, I now have every day. So I can see on the Sunday they were absent, on the Wednesday they were absent, they were late there, you know. This is what I can see. If this information now I can save as an Excel, or I could go to print as PDF. Just change the setup slightly so it just looks a bit prettier, a bit easier to follow. So now I have a report on that student to show every attendance mark over the term, it'll take 5 pages, so you would only email this to them or put it in a WhatsApp to them. Again, it would have their name, but I've removed it for the system. But this basically shows a student with lots of attendance issues only appearing once in 2 weeks and things like that. So that's how the detailed report is very useful. And that's the end of the video. I think the only other thing on this report that I tend to use is this one, number 4, attendance summary CRN based. So if you have a student that does several courses, especially in diploma, you might want to see which courses they're absent from. So if you go on there, that will tell you. I don't tend to put that in a report, I just tend to look at that report specifically, but it's a good and useful one to use. Okay, thank you very much.